Ever since I was 6, I always wanted a Corvette. All the stars somehow aligned, and I know I'm a super lucky SOB, but I finally got the one that I always wanted. So let's go back in time just a little bit. This is a picture of the first Corvette that I ever owned. It's a bright green 1975 coupe, and the heat in the shop has kind of destroyed the actual photograph, but I drove this car in high school. It's my first one. It's all that I could afford, and you know what? It got my, feet wet when it came to working on these cars, because it's the only car I had, so it had to go where I needed it to go every day, and it always had to work, etc., etc. So long story short, I've always had my eye on these C2 Corvettes. The problem is they're ridiculously expensive. They're kind of dumb expensive. So in the past, I would say 15 years or so, I just casually look for these Corvettes, and they pretty much start at like 20, 25,000, and then the sky's the limit, depending on what they are. Remember, they only made them 63 to 67. The 63 coupes are much more desirable than pretty much anything else. And then you have, big engine options in 67. And to me, I wasn't really picky. I didn't really care what I got, as long as I got something. But the other side of that coin was I was unwilling to pay the ridiculous amount of money that a project Corvette like this does cost. Now, I would say 95% of these cars have already been restored. All the old guys picked them up in the 80s. They've already been, frame off rotisserie restorations. So almost all these cars that you find aren't like this. They're not projects. And I didn't want to buy one that was already done, because can you imagine trying to convince your wife, hey honey, I'm gonna spend $65,000 on a car and then I gotta put more money into it? Like, yeah, right, like that's never gonna happen. But this one turned up locally to me, and I was super excited to get it. And I'm not gonna tell you how much I paid, but I will tell you I paid between $0 and $20,000. That's what I paid for this car. Let's get a little walk around first around it, and then we'll play musical cars and we'll put it up on the lift. So this is a 1964 Corvette convertible. According to the fender badges, it is an original fuel-injected convertible. All that stuff's gone, so I don't care. One of the things that I never liked about the C2s are the cars that are super 110% factory correct cars, because I don't have the money, nor the patience, nor the desire to restore a car to that level. To me, factory's kind of boring, and if the car is already not factory, then just have fun with it. Now, if this was perfect, original paint, original interior, numbers matching, museum quality, yeah, keep it factory, but not this one. So what I do know about this car is an original blue on blue roadster. It has the 4-speed on it, and I'm pretty sure it was a small block car. Let's open the hood. Now, the gentleman that I got it from had it for 4 years or so, and he didn't really do anything to it. But some stuff in the past, whatever time has been done. So for example, I put a new fuel filter on it, a new fan clutch on it. I looked underneath, the shocks are new, that kind of thing. But again, it's not a numbers matching original car. The numbers on the pad for the engine are wrong. This is a 350, not a 327. Obviously side pipes, etc., etc. So again, I'm not really concerned about numbers or matching or originality, because it's so far away from that. But what I'm concerned is having a freaking awesome Corvette Roadster to drive around next to my other awesome Corvette Roadster. So some rare things about the car is, obviously, we think it was fuel injected. Again, I don't know almost anything about these cars. I've heard that the hood prop being on that side and then the hole in the radiator support there means fuel injection, but again, I don't know. Also, power brakes, I heard, is quite a rare option for a car this early. But it has the big side pipes on it, that kind of thing. Other than that, pretty decent. Here around the back, a couple more things that I was able to add to it. Funny enough, I have a customer named Bob who has a perfect 64 coupe, and he gifted me some of his old parts because he was moving, and I was able to put this and this on the car because I already had them. It was awesome. Anyway, it does have an extra brake light on it, which I've heard is a very common mod when you're customizing these cars back in the 70s. Remember, this was just a 15-year-old car at one point. Also, it has these cool Fenton aluminum racing wheels on it. Guys, sorry for the rain noise, but here on the inside, I will go ahead and show you. So something cool about this car is, which is unusual, is the interior color is actually blue. I don't know enough about the C2s to know exactly how much is supposed to be blue, but the dash, the seats, and the door panels are all in pretty good shape. So, you know, worst comes to worst, we throw some carpet and sill plates in it, and then we have a car. So, you know, door panels looks good. The bottom carpet is blue. I'm assuming that's factory. The seats are black. And then here we have the gauges. This is actually really cool. It doesn't work, but it's really cool. The whole dash is blue, and then the gauge cluster and the glove box are black. Up on top, all the interior panels are blue. That kind of thing. Same with these. Again, I don't know a whole bunch about these Corvettes other than I've always wanted one and now I got one. That's interesting. These latches are interesting. I like them though. It does have a roll bar here in the back, which I thought was interesting as well. Maybe get new foam for that. I don't think it might detach. There's a bolt in that. But anyway, let's get it up on the lift and see what we got. All right, guys, first time underneath this car. Now keep in mind, on the title of the car, it is a Texas title, but it said that the last owner was in Pennsylvania. So it's not gonna be as clean as, let's say, a car that had been in Texas his whole life. So there's a lot of undercoating, but hopefully underneath that undercoating, we have a solid frame. Oh, and I have a light we get to use. Some of you guys are asking for a light. We got a light. All right, let's go under the front here. Again, most of what I'm seeing looks like undercoating. So like you might think, oh, that's a bunch of scale, but most of this is just undercoating and it all comes off. What we need to find is like big patches of rust or rot. A lot of times in these spring pockets, you'll have some. Again, it just looks like undercoating to me. But again, this is a lot more crusty than a normal Corvette from Texas would be. Like you wouldn't have all of that, you know, stuff coming off of there. So far, so good. I'm actually kind of amazed how similar this is to a C3. Really close to identical. Now this car does have disc brakes on it, which I find interesting. I believe 64 still had drum brakes on it. I see a newish brake hose, but an old caliper. I see a spring with a tag on it and decent shocks, new sway bar links. All right, we got some new, again, new sway bar links. More new brake hoses. And what's funny is the brakes on this car don't work, so maybe they just didn't get far enough to finish the brake job. But a lot of really thick undercoating stuff all over. Back to the steering gear, factory stuff, factory idler arm. Looks like a new fuel pump. The motor mount has seen much better days. That one looks okay. Steering gear is all just original stuff, original box. No power assist on that, but we can add that. We have what looks like, I'm assuming this is a fuel line right here. A really crappy negative battery cable. Old starter. There's all the clutch stuff. What's funny is the clutch pedal in this car is so hard to push compared to just a normal C3 that I've seen. So I don't understand that. Let's go along the frame here. This is the part I'm worried about. I mean, it just doesn't look too bad. It just looks like it had a whole bunch of undercoating for a long time. These end caps are where they like to rust out a lot. So yes, there is a little bit of a hole here. I did know about that. But up in here, I don't really see anything other than, again, old undercoating. Why? I use in Pennsylvania, that's kind of what you get. So same thing, old undercoating. And it worked, I guess it did its job. I mean, there's a few spots like, this looks like a body mount to the frame. Again, I'm not versed in C2s, but maybe that's a seatbelt mount. I don't know what that is. This would be the seatbelt mount. That would be just how they're put together, I guess. But there's a lot of scale up in here. It doesn't look too bad. It looks like the body is attached here and here on the frame. It's weird. Here is the worst that I've seen so far of the frame. I mean, it's just this little end right here. Wow, look at that. But again, you know, there's no holes where the lift arm is. There's no holes down this way. There's a giant dent right here. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. Looks like there had been a different set of exhaust put on at one point. But really, I'm just seeing undercoating. Let's go to the back rear suspension. Looks like we got new shocks and new brake hoses. Well, good. I don't have to buy brake hoses. I am, though, going to buy calipers, I believe, for this car. Is this aftermarket? I'm pretty sure these were supposed to be big rubber ones, and that's an aftermarket piece, but I don't know. This definitely looks aftermarket. That looks, wow, look at that. Washer, 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 washer. Instead of a bushing, is that what we're doing? Anyway, there's supposed to be a rubber bushing there. Why there's not, I don't know, but we could order up a set of those. It does have a rear sway bar. That's neat. It has adjustable strut rods, which is also neat. I don't think factory ones of these came with that. More undercoating. Does it have a posi? I think it does. So I move the wheels in the if I move one wheel, they should move in the same direction if it has a posi, and I believe that it does. So that's good. This is the stuff about northern cars, is the insides of the frames are just full of little bits. And these rear body mounts, they could be better. But I crawled all underneath this car before I bought it, just to make sure it wasn't just a total rust pile. And yeah, there's rust in it, believe me. It's not very pretty, but for what I paid for it, what do you kind of expect? Looks like we got our first maintenance item right here. So here in the back we have the bumpers mounted. Why did they put this one on? I have no idea. And why is there bolts on the side of this one? I don't know either. But they missed a bolt right here. Anyway, it does have this mod of an extra taillight. I kind of like it. I think it's kind of cool. There is no spare tire. But again, this car has been updated with disc brakes. It has disc brake trailing arms. Weirdly enough, these trailing arms don't look as rusty as the rest of the car, but they do have this undercoat all over them. I think I'm gonna spend like 30 hours. Yeah, that trailing arm doesn't feel too good. Let's try this one. They probably all need redone, just like everything in this car. The entirety of this car definitely needs redone. That's for sure. But I'm thinking I got one with good bones. So I do know that this came from sitting in the garage for like half an hour, this giant puddle. So that is gonna have to be addressed, wherever this leak is coming from. Who even knows? This tail shaft housing, I don't know. It looks like the transmission's got to come out, because that's too big of a leak to actually ignore. Oh man. Yeah, it's probably just all in the middle. It's probably just all this. That's where it's mostly coming from. That's some nasty gear oil. But yeah, underneath doesn't look too bad. I'm curious. Oh, I can see the bottom of the bird cage. Now here's the real test. If this car is good or not, if this bird cage is any good, because I doubt they got undercoating up through here. Why is there electrical lines on the outside of the frame? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's a C2 thing. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Maybe here in the back, just a hair right there on that body mount. Just a little bit. Again, it looks like undercoating. How much of that you guys can see. Let's go to the other side. That's not too bad. It looks like we've got some fuel lines that are probably need replaced. That body mount's not bad. Not too bad, not too bad. The front would be pretty rusty too. Again, Pennsylvania stuff, not really used to seeing that kind of stuff in Texas, but Texas cars are probably more expensive. Now it does have these. These look like bumper brackets, one set of them. How they all go together, I don't know. I know that one maybe goes through here and hooks in there somehow. Also, I don't see any, all the wiring for the headlights is unhooked, and I don't see any headlight motors for any of this. How it's supposed to together, I don't know. But I think we have a good car. I think the underneath is gonna work. All right, I spent some time with the putty knife scraping around on the frame. It cleaned up pretty good. Again, Pennsylvania car. But again, if you consider that, it's not bad. This little fold where the two pieces of frame come together, little hole right there. They're all impregnated with rust. They're all drain holes. I'll clean those out later, but getting all the undercoating off is actually revealed. It's a pretty solid frame. Mind you, it's ugly. Don't get me wrong, it is ugly, but it is there. Also, there's a new, this front half parking brake cable is brand new. I didn't notice that the first time around. So, yeah, little things. So, that's it for the underside. What to do next? Before I order parts, I want to make sure what I have. So this looks like a bumper. I'm assuming it's a front bumper. Got a giant hole in it. We'll take that out. Oh, see, look, for example, I was gonna buy these to hold the expansion tank in. I won't be buying those. I was gonna buy this to hold a battery in. I will not be buying that. I'm glad I did this. It looks like, other than that, we just have all the brackets for the probably the front bumpers, considering the back bumpers are still on the car. I'm just gonna assume that's what these are. Those look like ones from a C3. Might be same for a C2, I don't know. Some of these look like very similar to C3 brackets, but again, would I put it past GM to use the same brackets on a different car, you know, over the space of 20 years? No, I wouldn't. I would say GM would do exactly that, and that's no surprise in my mind. Let's take all these out and see what else we got. All right, in moving that bucket, or box of bumper brackets, here's the other half of the seat. And it looks like this bottom half, it's a little, you know, bumped down because of the weight. That should come out. How these seats are attached to each other, I don't know. Looks like I'm missing some rails that go up the side like that. Anyway, there's really nothing else to look at in this car other than what's in the glove box. I haven't been able to get in there yet. It looks like this is actually a factory piece of wood. It goes over the trays in the back, which there's absolutely nothing. I'm sure there should be a jack in here, jacking instructions and all that stuff. But there's no top frame, so maybe this hard top will just be permanent, which is fine with me. I don't mind that, but let's get the glove box open. Maybe there's some goodies in there. All right, here in the glove box we have an extra flasher, an extra fuel injection badge. Ooh, a comb. Need that. This, I don't know what part that is. You know, this looks like something latch for like the back convertible deck, because I see one right there. It looks the same. I don't know if I'm missing one on the other side. Allen key, a random weird set of pliers. We got, looks like, ooh, that's really neat. Is that funny? That's the thing I'm excited about, is a spark plug gapper. That looks old. And we got a bracket. Again, don't know what that's for. This looks like for the, there should be a light in here. It's like the cover for that. And then a spring and a random bolt. I'm putting this in my toolbox. That's great. Another thing I just realized is that this interior is blue. It is not black. So that's blue and that's black. So the glove box door and the gauges, I believe, are in black, but the rest is actually in blue, which would make sense because, you know, the carpet down here is in blue, and then looks like the carpet on the bottom of the doors is blue, but also the panels are black. So, and somebody try to dye it. I don't know enough about these cars to know. The sun visors are blue. Yeah, lots of blue. Cool.